und sich die Welt untertan machen.
Der Blutsplitter ist durch einen Rückruf.
Missgletscher! Wie zur Hölle sind Sie daran?
The story is set in ancient times when mythical creatures like vampires, werewolves, witches, and monsters terrorized humanity. However, one day, all these creatures suddenly turned good and embraced peace. As time passed, they began to fade from existence, with some hiding in secret places, even some never revealing their true forms. The focus of the story shifts to a teenage vampire named Thwart, who lives hidden among normal human life. One evening, Thwart is accompanied by his father on his way to a magic school that has invited him. During the journey, their car is stopped by a troll who requests permission to enter the city. While his father retrieves the permit, the troll begins reciting a prophecy about three beings uniting to battle against the devil. Eventually, they are allowed to enter the city. Upon reaching the city, Thwart's father reminisces about his own childhood in the same place. Along the way, they encounter a cyclist who accidentally collides with Thwart's father. The police at the scene quickly assess the situation. Unbeknownst to Thwart or his father, the pendant Thwart is wearing has magically transformed the bicycle and the police officer's hat. Since no one is injured, the police allow them to continue their journey. Shortly after, Thwart and his father arrive at their temporary residence. However, Thwart protests the fragile appearance of the place. His father persuades him, explaining that the secret school believes in Thwart's abilities, which is why they invited him to study there. That night, a tax collector vampire visits Thwart and his father, revealing the details of their life expenses and school fees. Thwart is shocked by the substantial amount. His father, trying to hide this fact, puts on a cheerful face and escorts him to school. Upon Thwart's arrival at the new school, he witnesses some senior students bullying a junior. Fortunately, three fairies intervene and stop the bullying, sarcastically calling out the bullies. Thwart, who happens to be present, introduces himself and makes his first friend at the new school, a human-wolf hybrid named Wolfi. Meanwhile, Thwart's father is pressured by a tax collector named Meyer to pay the fees. Meyer is unwilling to grant any leniency, even though she can expel them from the city if they can't afford the expenses, unless Thwart's father agrees to sell a valuable item, specifically the pendant Thwart always wears. Later on, the mayor gets involved in their negotiation. Instead of offering leniency, the mayor threatens Thwart's father, suggesting that he should sell the item. However, Thwart's father cannot sell the pendant as it holds sentimental value, being a last gift from his late wife to Thwart. Thus, the negotiations are left hanging as Thwart's father goes to school. Despite being surprised by his father's unexpected visit, the school's head continues her introduction ritual, awakening the hidden powers within each new student. One by one, the students begin to display their potential abilities. However, Faye, a fairy, struggles to control her flying ability and ends up crashing onto Thwart, causing him to bleed. Seeing Thwart's blood, which belongs to a vampire, makes her vomit. Additionally, Wolfi is allergic to his own fur, despite being a human-wolf hybrid. After school, Thwart confesses to his father that he feels embarrassed about the incident. How could a vampire, known for drinking blood, vomit at the sight of blood? His father manages to reassure him, emphasizing that the secret school believes in Thwart's abilities, which is why they invited him to study there. On the other hand, Wolfi consults with a veterinarian due to his fur allergy. Faye, who has become a meme after the embarrassing video at the introduction ceremony, also seeks guidance. Since the incident, Thwart, Wolfi, and Faye all feel sad and embarrassed. That night, Mayor, who is revealed to be a witch, visits Thwart's home with the intention of stealing the pendant. After obtaining the pendant, Meyer quickly returns to her office. However, the attempted theft was ordered by the mayor. Even though she has the pendant now, it suddenly disappears and returns to its original place.
Der Blutsplitter ist durch
Upon
eine...
returning to school, Flat becomes increasingly embarrassed because Faye's video remains a subject of ridicule among the students. Some of the seniors also mock Flat using fake blood, making him feel nauseous. Frustrated and sad, Flat decides to seek solace in the forest. However, without any prior arrangement, he encounters Faye and Wolfi, who have also gone into the forest. After a brief discussion, Flat expressed a desire to leave school. Faye and Wolfi also had similar thoughts. So in the end, they decided to leave school and embark on an adventure together to prove their inner strength. They needed to cross a bridge to exit the city, but their progress was halted by a troll that insisted they turn back. Fortunately, the janitor, who was still following Flat, tried to help them by mesmerizing the troll. The janitor then invited Flat, Faye, and Wolfi to his home, where they enjoyed a cup of hot beverage. The janitor informed them that no creature could leave the city, but there was one way mentioned in an ancient book that could help them. The book contained a prophecy that explained 3 children would unite their powers and defeat the darkness, Lucifer. Flat remembered that this was the same prophecy the troll mentioned when he first entered the city. From this information, Wolfi was determined to prove his strength to his parents and the children who had mocked him. Additionally, to find a way out of the city, they first needed to obtain the forbidden book from the forbidden library. The next day, Flat, Faye, and Wolfi went straight to the tightly guarded forbidden library. By sneaking around, they managed to bypass the guards and enter one of the forbidden rooms. Here, they were surprised by the presence of a killer dog. Fortunately, Wolfi was able to handle the dog by giving it some of his food. While Wolfi distracted the dog, Flat and Faye attempted to retrieve the forbidden book from one of the library's shelves, but their efforts were not easy. Several traps had been set to protect the secrecy of the forbidden book. This is where Flat's ability came into play. He used an ultrasonic sensor like a bat and detected some invisible pitfalls, safely maneuvering past them. After overcoming several obstacles, Flat and Faye finally arrived in the room where all the forbidden books were stored. Here, Faye's ability as a fairy who was afraid of heights was required. Faye had to fly with her eyes closed to retrieve the forbidden book. At the same time, Wolfi has run out of food to distract the guard dog. They must quickly leave the forbidden library before they are discovered. On the other hand, Flat's father continues to be pressured by Meyer to pay their living expenses using the pendant. Meyer even resorts to using a seductive potion to manipulate Flat's father into giving up the pendant. However, Flat's father is currently dealing with the news that Flat has run away from school. Upon hearing this, Meyer rushes home to report to the mayor. Meyer also tries to locate Flat using her magical mirror, revealing that Flat has obtained the forbidden book. Once Flat has the forbidden book, he opens it and discovers that the peaceful world they know is at risk of being returned to darkness, with Lucifer planning to terrorize humanity once again and seize control of their powers. However, one page appears to have been intentionally torn out, leaving them unaware of the full details. Based on the troll's prophecy and Faye's intuition, they suspect that Lucifer intends to turn all creatures evil again. Without hesitation, Flat and his friends decide to inform their parents about this impending threat. In reality, the mayor has been planning this for years, aiming to turn all creatures evil again under his rule. Mayor, not wanting the kids to ruin the mayor's plans to cast a curse on them, reversing everything they say. This causes confusion and frustration, especially for Flat, who is repeatedly urged by his father to give up the pendant for the sake of their survival in the city. However, Flat refuses and locks himself in his room. Flat tries to contact Faye and Wolfi, but they are also speaking in reverse words. Faye realizes that this is a result of the reverse incantation, and that there's no point in complaining. Despite their foaming mouths, they eventually agree to meet the next day and read the forbidden book again. The following day, after Flat finishes reading the entire forbidden book, he realizes that the incidents he experienced earlier were caused by the pendant. The pendant has the ability to manipulate time, turning something new into something old. It is also capable of turning the currently peaceful creatures evil again. Worse yet, Faye discovers that the mayor possesses a piece of the same pendant and has placed it atop the tower. Wolfi and Faye distract the authorities, while Flat sneaks into the tower. His pendant guides him, seemingly drawn to something, and indeed, he finds a large piece that matches his pendant at the top of the tower. Meanwhile, Mayor begins to realize that the time reversal effects from the crystal are spreading, altering various objects in the city. She urgently requests the mayor to come to investigate. Fortunately, Flat has already left the tower, informing Faye and Wolfi that the pendant he was given is the last piece of the mayor's crystal. The time reversal effect also accidentally restored the missing piece of the forbidden book that explained Lucifer's plan to turn all creatures evil again during a solar eclipse. They also realize that Lucifer mentioned in the forbidden book is actually the mayor. Moreover, today coincides with a solar eclipse. Flat plans to leave the city with the last crystal piece, as without it, the time reversal spell won't work to its full extent. However, before that, Meyer discovers Flat's whereabouts, and the mayor plans to capture him. Meanwhile, Meyer intends to deal with Flat's father. When they reach the city's border bridge, to their surprise, the troll allows Flat to escape. However, from behind, the mayor kidnaps Faye and threatens to harm her if Flat doesn't hand over the last crystal piece. With no other choice, Flat agrees to meet the mayor on top of the tower before the eclipse. At the same time, Meyer uses a love potion on Flat's father to make him obey her every command. However, Flat's father suddenly sees a red light emanating from the tower and realizes it's an evil spell. Flat's father finally comprehends that the mayor is planning something wicked. Realizing that Flat and his friends are in danger, he also realizes that Meyer had cast spells on him multiple times. As he is about to leave to save Flat, Meyer intentionally delays him, knowing that there are only seconds left before the full solar eclipse. All the creatures in the city gather to witness this rare phenomenon. The mayor then places the last crystal piece just before 1 p.m. Suddenly, Flat's pendant, which still carries the binding curse, returns to the cleaner's house. Frustrated by the thwarting of his plans by 3 children, the mayor unleashes his powers and attacks them. Unable to bear the sight of their friends suffering, Wolfi reveals his natural abilities and immediately confronts the mayor. Faye overcomes her fear of heights and flies back to the tower, providing Flat with fairy dust to transform into a vampire. Growing increasingly angry at being defeated by 3 kids, the mayor releases all his powers, directed at Flat, inadvertently destroying his own crystal. The attack backfires, transforming the mayor into ashes. Although no one knows about their battle against Lucifer to protect the city, the era of peace for all creatures continues. The cleaner returns the pendant to Flat, and they become a happy family once again. In this film, we see how friendship and collective strength can overcome various obstacles and dangers. It also emphasizes the importance of embracing each individual's uniqueness and differences in achieving common goals. I hope this summary helps you understand the story of the movie.